Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Note Closer Show. And we are really excited for this episode because it's a subject we have not covered yet in the many episodes that we have had with Mondays, with our travels the last 2 weeks with a wedding and going to the New Media Summit and things like that. And Labor Day, we forgot to get our regularly scheduled double barrel dose of Quest IRA in this month. And so we want to make sure and make that up. And I've got an amazing show for you today with the one and the only, the myth, the legend, one of the most tenured Quest IRA employees there, the fabulous Rebecca Miller joining us today. How's it going, Rebecca?
It's going really great. Thank you so much for inviting me over and having me as your guest speaker. This is actually one of my first times coming on to your podcast.
I know it is. Ingrid and Anne Marie have been hogging it up, and we had Haley on last month to talk about the Quest Expo. But it's been time. I was like, we got to have Rebecca on. It's time to have Rebecca on. Rebecca has been there a long time, and you're obviously congratulations as well. You celebrated 9 years yesterday, and if I see that's right, you got some pretty flowers in the background from the Quest, huh?
Mm-hmm. They gave me a really, really sweet congratulations on my 9th anniversary here. And so they gave me flowers and cookies and a whole to-do in front of our office during the 11:15 trainings. We do trainings every single day to keep everybody up on their game when it comes to self-directed IRA education for even our employees. But yeah, it's really exciting.
Now, question I like to ask is, where did you think you'd be there for 9 years?
No, I did not foresee this coming at all. I started as an intern with Quest IRA actually back in 2009. And I didn't foresee this growth, but it's been a great trip along the way, as well as it helped me find what I really wanted to do as far as what I was going to school for and to really hone in on that. And till this day, I'm still going to school part-time, believe it or not.
Well, you are. I didn't know. What are you studying?
Really, I am getting my bachelor's in marketing and business administration.
That doesn't surprise me because you do a lot of events there. You do a lot of marketing. You've been a very focal link in what Quest has done in marketing since I've been a fan and client of Quest for the last at least 5 or 6 years. You've been a staple there for a lot of things. You've started at Houston, then you've been in the Austin office. We had a few wind down Wednesdays there, right?
Yeah, I actually moved out to Austin, Texas from Houston to help establish that office with Beatrice, our marketing director here at Quest.
And now you're up in the Dallas office as well, too.
I just moved up to Dallas to help grow that office even further.
Now, one of the things that I love is you are the expert there at Quest. And I've heard the ladies, I've heard Nathan, I've heard Nate all talk about, hey, if you want this specific type of plan, you need to talk to our expert, Rebecca Miller. Why don't you share with everybody kind of your expert there and what you get? Because when I come in the office and stuff like that, you're on the phone, and oftentimes you're explaining one of these plans to the client, a potential client at Quest.
Yeah, so I handle a lot of our employer plans. A lot more folks work with SEP or simple IRAs because they're more common. You can have employees with them. You can get higher contributions, and like I said, it doesn't hurt to have employees. But there's some folks out there that have no employees who would like to have a solo 401k. This type of account has many names. They call it an individual 401k, a QRP, a single member profit sharing plan. But basically, it's a 401k with a single individual who has no other employees beyond possibly their spouse. And I handle a lot of our consultations on those. So you mentioned how I'm usually always on the phone with one of these. On average, I'd say a consultation with one of our 401ks or for one of our 401ks takes between 45 minutes to an hour to be really thorough, to go over the ins and outs of all the great things. When somebody wants a solo 401k, it's usually for a number of reasons, and we can touch on those. But we also focus on the responsibilities that come with the account, because it's one thing to be gung-ho about the great things without knowing the other side of the book. And so basically, that's what I get to do, is I get to handle a lot of those consultations, and we are training more of our Quest employees on those too. so that we'll be really able to take on more consultations on this type of account this November and December. Because if you may not know this, but solo 401ks have a account opening deadline of December 31st. You can't get me off the phone around that time of year.
Yeah, they don't have the normal extended to April 15th, correct? They've got to be done by December 31st because that falls in line with a lot of the tax forms and things like that, correct?
Correct. And it gets to be really stressful, like December 31st. One thing that catches a lot of folks is they like wait till the end of the year deadline. And if you're a W-2 employee yourself, like if you have a corporation, you're paying yourself a W-2, that means your final contribution for the year and the setting up the account all has to be done by December 31st, which is really, really hectic, unless you're a 1099 or Schedule C employee. Or
that's definitely stressful because people are excited about having a party, not necessarily year-end.
Right? I forget there's a New Year's Eve somewhere in there, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm assuming that Monday, December 31st, you're going to be at the offices on the phone then, huh?
Yes, I'll probably be on the phone that entire weekend as well.
Cool. Well, why don't we talk about it so we can help people get a little bit excited about it, figure out and see if we can't get their ducks in a row prior to December 31st. Give them kind of a literally about a timeline. Say what, Rebecca?
A heads up and a timeline, yeah.
Exactly. So when we start, let's talk about the great benefits of it, and we'll go from there, huh?
Perfect. Usually before I step into the benefits of the account, I always step back because before we open up like the full consultation, I always touch on what they have to qualify for in order to have the 401k plan. Because really, you have to be self-employed. Well, there's folks out there that may be real estate investors and they may have what they consider to be self-employment income. But it's not really self-employment income unless you're paying self-employment taxes. For instance, somebody who's running a corporation is paying those self-employment taxes, especially when they pay themselves a W-2. But you also see this with 1099 or Schedule C earnings. Where you don't see this is with a lot of real estate investors who may be putting all of their income under Schedule E, so where they don't have to pay these taxes. There's some great benefits to that, but there's also the downside that if all of your self-employment income is being treated as investment income, then it doesn't qualify to be used for contributing to an employer plan because these accounts are designed to get a tax break for those self-employed individuals. And so that's where I like to start. If somebody currently has investment income and they would like to see how they could possibly use a 401k in the future, the best thing to do would be to talk to your CPA, which I always encourage. You want to bring in your CPA, your financial advisor, to help them advise you on how much A, you can even contribute to the 401k plan, and B, make sure your self-employment income is in line to support that contribution even. So that's your first positive step forward in preparing for a 401k. Once you know that A, you're self-employed, you have the income, you have no other employees under any other businesses you own, you're ready for this consultation. And so we go over the benefits to start. Why would somebody want a solo 401k? Well, A, the contributions. They're the highest possible contribution limits out of any other retirement account. To give you just an idea of that, if somebody is paying themselves a wage, they can contribute up to $18,500 if they're under the age of 50 to the 401k from their paycheck. In addition to that, if they're over the age of 50, they get another $6,000. So wow. It's $24,500 that they could withhold and get possibly a tax deduction on for putting into a traditional 401k. Or our 401k plan offers a Roth component where they could make it a after-tax contribution and invest it as a Roth 401k instead. If y'all aren't familiar with the different tax advantages between traditional and a Roth, the traditional money would be tax deferred. If it was a Roth 401k contribution, that would be after tax money going into the Roth. But the benefit there is that it would grow tax-free moving forward. Now, that's just one of the two types of contributions. In addition to what you get to put in for yourself as an employee, you can also make a employer contribution. The employer portion can be up to 25% of the employee's W-2 wages. If you're a 1099 or Schedule C employee, this would be up to 20% of your net earnings. The percentages are different because taxes are taken out differently. So just a bit of a heads up there. That's again why you want to talk to your CPA, have them help you calculate the maximum contribution that you can make based off of your self-employment earnings. So this account, as you can see, can allow for upwards of the two contributions combined. The employee portion plus the employer, combined, these can allow for up to a contribution of $55,000. And if you make if you're over the age of 50, now you get an extra $6,000, pushing your contribution close to $60,000. So it's incredibly, incredibly powerful how much you can contribute to one of these accounts. So beyond that, though, what some folks also search for in a 401k plan is the ability to take a loan to yourself. Our 401k plan does allow for the employee to take up to 50% of the account's value, not to exceed $50,000 as a loan. And you do have to pay that back with interest, of course. Another huge benefit folks will seek out the 401k for would also be checkbook control, the ability to write checks. You're not filling out paperwork for Quest IRA. And so you get to execute the investment yourself. You get to write the check yourself. And it's a bit of a breeze when you think of it in that aspect. But other than that, you also get an exemption to unrelated business income tax. This is a huge benefit for solo 401k holders that want to invest into debt leveraged real estate, like buying a house with a mortgage against it. Or that's really the main benefit. If you hold a property with a loan against it for a year or more, you don't have to pay UBIT tax with a 401k. So it's very, very, very powerful. And last but not least, let me see, our fees. Our fees are kind of cheaper for a 401k plan. On average, for an IRA holder, it's going to be close to like $200 or $300 a year as kind of like an average. For our 401k plan, our service is different. So we charge a flat upfront fee of $1,500, which averages to be like $300 for like 5 years. And so that can end up being a little bit cheaper over time in comparison to a 401k as well. Although your CPA may make up the rest of that cost consulting with him, right? Now that gives you a bit of the benefits, the contributions, loans to yourself, the Roth components. It's also great, but there's a bit of a downside in there. There's a but. Nathan always jokes that the 401k plans that we offer is similar to like a Superman cape. When you put it on, you're super powered for self-directing, but it comes with a lot of responsibility wearing that cape. And so what are the responsibilities that come into it? Well, that's really the bookkeeping and the record keeping to start. So you wrote a check for that investment. Great. You need to document it as well as keep track of it in your books. Now that sounds a little bit simple, keeping track of money moving in and out of the plan, but there's actually split bookkeeping required. You have to track what money you're investing inside of the account, from what your employer contributions were to your employee portion and what money you may have rolled in from an old IRA. All of that money, of course, it's inside of your 401k plan, but when you strike a check, you have to keep track of what portion of that check came from employee contributions versus company contributions and so forth. It gets to be a bit of a bookkeeping headache. And so I always encourage that even if somebody's really strong at bookkeeping, does their own for their business, it doesn't hurt to consult with a bookkeeper who's done it before and maybe set your books up right the first time around. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like going back and doing extra work. I always like to, prepare. Another bit of a responsibility that comes with these accounts is, I mentioned the storing of the paperwork. Of course, you have to keep your own paper records, but also you have to do your own IRS reporting. There's two types of forms that get reported. One that gets reported annually once your account's value exceeds $250,000. That amount, one form that gets reported once your account value exceeds $250,000 is a form 5500 EZ. This form basically tells the IRS what your account's value is, the market value, as well as a few other things like if you have any loans out. The form gets a little bit more onerous once your account exceeds $1 million in value. I've heard this on more than one account from one of our IRA holders as well as financial planners, that once your account exceeds $1 million, you have to start filing a form called a 5500. The name is only slightly different from the first form I mentioned. The first form, when you hit 250,000, has an EZ on the end. The second one doesn't. And that is literally the difference. The first one's easy. Once you hit $1 million, it gets hard. And you may want to consult with a financial planner to assist you with that filing. Other than that, you have to report your own distributions with a 1099, or if you ever try to do a conversion inside the account. So you can see there's, if you're self-directing an IRA already, you can see that there's a whole lot more work to administer your own solo 401k plan because you're tracking everything yourself now. Where with an IRA account, you have to have an IRA administrator, which would do all this work for you, the IRS reporting, the bookkeeping, and all of that great stuff. The only other downside to a solo 401k plan in comparison is that the IRS knows that there's some folks out there that didn't study up on how to do their bookkeeping right. There's some folks out there that forgot to file their 5500 EZ that year that their account exceeded 250,000 as a value. Because when you don't put it as a priority or you don't mark it on your calendar, it's easy to forget, right? Mm-hmm. So they come out looking for ways to audit solo 401ks more specifically than self-directed IRAs. It's just kind of known across the industry that they're a bit more of an audit magnet.
That's interesting. They're out there looking for those that didn't file.
Mm-hmm. Just in the years of working with Quest IRA, and from what I've heard as far as audits that we've ever seen, we've definitely had like one IRA audit to my knowledge, and I want to say 2 or 3 401k audits over the entire lifetime of Quest.
That's not too bad because you guys have a variety of those accounts.
That's really not a lot, but when you look at the fact that we probably have about 15,000 IRA accounts and we have about 200 401ks, because not everybody fits that mold. Mm-hmm. It's a huge ratio difference, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. What mistakes do you see people making that they slough off on hiring the professionals to help with the accounting and the bookkeeping, or they just forget to file documents for the most part?
So I've seen folks forget to file their 5500 EZ forms, and I also saw a funny circumstance where somebody decided to terminate their 401k plan, probably without consulting with their CPA or anybody first, because they just wrote themselves a check. If they had done their due diligence, they would have known that when you take a distribution directly from a 401k plan, if it's coming from a taxable portion, the 401k administrator or custodian is required to withhold 20% for taxes. So he cut himself a check for 100% when he should have only cut himself a check for 80%. And the worst part is he has to report all of that to the IRS with a 1099-R, as well as when you terminate a plan, you have to file a 5500 EZ for that year as well.
Wow.
Those are probably the biggest mistakes I've seen, other than somebody making a contribution when they weren't qualified to do so, or an excess contribution. Yeah,
I'm sure you have people doing excess contributions. It's probably the biggest mistake I probably imagine, is people trying to squeeze extra out of the year, and then what happens if they do make an excess contribution? They just need to remove it in a timely fashion, or what?
No, I'm afraid not. So I've actually done some due diligence on this, although we're not able to advise folks how to handle the correction. But basically, there's some different options on how to correct it. It's usually that it kind of gets rolled into like the next calendar year. Sure. From what I can remember, honestly, it's been a little bit of time since I've done my due diligence on that mistake.
But that makes sense, though. That would make sense, especially trying to do it. Oh, hey, your taxes, you can't contribute as much. You got to take a little.
It seems really easy from an individual point of view, but when you think about it, these same rules apply to for a company with a 401k for several employees. And so when you think about an employer giving an excess contribution to this employee or several employees, that is a huge issue to correct. You can't just take money back out of their 401k. There's a process, and it's definitely regulated by the IRS.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So are you seeing where it's with the, correct me if you don't know, the 200 plus clients that have these plans with you guys, are you seeing them basically be more individual solopreneurs, solo people that have companies, or are you seeing?
We actually only offer a individual or solo 401k. Once you do have employees, the plan documents themselves are more complicated, and we actually refer those like folks who contact us for a consultation regarding a self-directed 401k, but they have employees under another company or anything like that, or they just have employees in general that are W-2 employees or common law. Then we refer them to Compensation Strategies Ltd. That's actually the company that we use to self-direct our own 401k for our employees. We're pretty blessed here at Quest IRA that our president, Quincy Long, is not only a genius, but he's also investing my 401k for me in assets like real estate and a whole lot more.
Hang on, don't let him know. His head will get bigger than it is already.
It's already big though, I think.
Exactly. No, Quincy is a genius for sure. That's definitely the truth. Lucky to call him a friend, and then also somebody can reach out to you for questions. And it's always funny to listen to Quincy take questions from the audience on different things, especially at the Quest Expo just recently, right?
Yeah, there's always a well at the beginning of that. Well,
on one hand, questions from the audience. We got some thumbs up from people out there. Christina Fuller, Clifton Sadler, Laura Blanc, all giving some thumbs up. Some regular attendees there. Christina definitely was at the Quest Austin office. You guys are changing the name here as of November 1st to Quest Trust, correct?
Yeah, we're becoming Quest Trust. About this time last year, the Texas Banking Commission said, "Hey guys, y'all smell like a company. Y'all smell like a trust company. You look like a trust company. You need to become a trust company." Mm-hmm. And so we said, "Okay." And we are officially becoming a trust company on November 1st.
I know Nate told me about this by the time that it happened. He told me I was sworn to secrecy, and then Nathan and Quincy were both telling me about this Quincy was telling me about on the cruise as well at the beginning of the year that you guys were working through. And it's been a bit of a journey, right? A bit of a
whole year, yeah.
Yeah, jumping through some hoops and dotting T's and crossing I's and making things happen. But it's a huge opportunity. It's a great opportunity for those out there that have trusts and things like that need to put it in. I know Quincy's excited. Nathan's excited. I know the whole staff over there is excited. So, but that's the thing too. For those that don't know, all the documents, all the payments are still accurate. You're correct. You don't have to go and correct documents or correct title, on things. You still can accept payments in the Quest IRA, FBO, whatever. Correct.
Correct.
Right. Now, what else is going on? I mean, that was just a great chunk of nuggets out there on employer plans, but you guys have a big event coming up here again next month in October, don't you?
Yeah, we're gonna have our annual Fright Night event. So it's time to break out some Halloween costumes or dust off an old one. I know I have a closet full because I've been going to these things for about 8 years now, and it's time to dust off your Halloween costumes or to buy a new one because the Fright Night's going to come up on, I want to say it's the 25th or the 26th.
The 25th. I got it marked on my calendar here. The 25th. Yeah, Steph's already okay. What are you dressing up as? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'll shave my head, grow a goatee, and go as Quincy.
I'm a little bit of a silly goose. I just search on Amazon like adult Halloween costumes and like pick the first one I see. I'm gonna be a skeleton this year.
A skeleton.
Well, I thought a little bit overweight, and so I thought it would help me feel skinnier. All right, that was a bad joke. But all of our Quest employees break out Halloween costumes. We actually pay for their Halloween costumes up to like $30 a piece. So you'll see us out because that's just an excuse for me to spend like another $30 to like $80 on a Halloween costume. So we usually go all out here.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's what I was laughing about because the skeleton is simple. All especially the last year. I mean, you had a couple hundred people show up. Just a great time. But all of y'all had really great costumes that were all different and just different themed, which is phenomenal. So even Quincy got in the Quincy and Nathan and Nate and
a costume party. Not the costume party. It was a costume contest that we had last year. which you do every single year. There's always a great contest. But man, some of the costumes are so great. So great.
Mm-hmm. And you'll have a panel of people talking about horror stories and things like that.
That's always been the trademark of the event, is that it's not just a Halloween party. It's about coming out and learning. Just like all of our events are really education focused. And so this is a chance to learn from those mistakes that everybody's made out there. So also, if you have a frightening self-directed IRA story, tell our Quest staff about it. It not only could it possibly be used for an event like this, but even one of our classes, the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is a class that's pretty much solely focused on case studies of actual investments from our clients. Y'all can help us make those a little bit more fresh.
Exactly. And we got a question from our buddy Clifton. He goes, is it possible to convert a solo 401k to a self-directed IRA once your 401k value gets above $250,000?
Is it possible to transition from a solo 401k to a self-directed? Yes, but you wouldn't be able to make your contributions, and you'd lose a lot of those other benefits that solo 401ks have that you don't have with an IRA. Honestly, other than that, when you have a 401k plan, if you're retiring or shutting down your business or no longer intend to make contributions, these are also just usually times when you're supposed to be terminating the plan and rolling it out to a IRA. And there's one more thing I want to clarify on your question. If you have a solo 401k plan that's an active plan, meaning you're contributing to it and so forth, there's actually limitations on when you can roll money out if it's still active. So for instance, if I'm self-employed, I'm still contributing, but I want to stay below this $250,000 mark because I just don't want to file. Well, in that instance, I may not be able to roll out. In order to take what's referred to as an in-service distribution, which is a distribution, whether it's going to an IRA or going into your pockets, while you're still actively working, you have to hit a qualifying reason. A qualifying reason would be death. I'm just kidding. A qualifying reason under our 401k plan may be that you can roll out any money that you ever rolled in. So if you had an IRA that you originally rolled into this 401k, in addition to making your contributions, you can still take that original rolled over amount back out, just the original amount. So your rollovers, you could see if you could roll that out. Other than that, the qualifications for an in-service distribution are usually like hardship, disability, death, retirement age at 59 and a half, the regular basic ones.
That makes sense. Definitely. He goes, Clifton says, by the way, we really appreciate your support, Rebecca. You're the best.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Clifton.
There you go. Yeah. Good stuff there. Good stuff there. Great question, Clifton. Also, so I had a question for you. So what happens if you were to get divorced? If you had a 401k plan, you got divorced. And
sorry. I hope it wasn't in Texas or another community property state.
Let's say it's in Texas here, though.
Okay. So if you get divorced, you should be aware that in Texas, as well as a few other states, we are a community property state, which means that your spouse is entitled to up to like 50% of everything you own. And so with that in mind, your spouse could receive a portion or all of your retirement savings in a divorce. If that was the case, whether it's an IRA or a 401k for that matter, once everything was finalized in the divorce, and there's actually a divorce decree that says this portion of your retirement accounts gets moved over to your ex-wife or ex-husband, then we would honor that request and have you fill out a distribution form, and your ex fill out a new IRA application to have a portion of all of that moved into their name.
So that's the question I have. Is it all moved into their name as an IRA? If they wanted to take it cash, or you would be holding?
If it was a solo 401k that was actually being moved into their name, normally it would go directly to an IRA. With some institutions, they may also set up like a QRP. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was the wrong term. Quadro, QUDRO, Quadro. If they have to set up a quadro that's similar to a 401k, it's just like a weird transition. With us, we'd go straight from a 401k to the IRA of a spouse.
Okay. That makes sense. All right, cool. Clifton says, thanks. Awesome. Good stuff there. I'm gonna throw an oddball at you here. Oddball question at you here, because let's throw you off there. Unless you guys that are listening or watching out there have more questions. And once again, everybody, if you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Vimeo, or one of our other 50 distribution channels, you can always reach out to any to Rebecca, any of the IRA specialists at questira.com, right, Rebecca?
Mm-hmm. Just email IRA specialists at questira.com.
And you guys, I will tell you this, I have to give you a bravo. Anytime we send a referral over, you all are like, bam, you're on the phone, you're following up an email to the persons, because we refer a lot of accounts to you guys, and you guys do a great job of reaching out in a very timely fashion compared to a lot of the other wannabe self-custodians out there. You guys are the best in the industry because of your customer service and your ability to follow up and answer questions and just be Johnny on the spot for everybody. So kudos to that. But question I have for you, what is two connections? What's the best thing that you enjoy doing working at Quest for 9 years? And what's the least favorite thing that you do at Quest?
Well, that's an easy one. I don't have to do a lot of the things I don't like to do anymore.
That's good.
I get to train others on handling those for me. But it's probably just a lot of like the data entry. I don't do data entry anymore. My favorite part, always have been, day one, customer service. I love being on the phone. I like making people stay. I like feeling accomplished that I helped them meet their goals, whether it was a deadline for an investment or they had a problem that they had to solve. Like, those bad times come up if you need to take a distribution from your account for this or that. Well, let's get you on the right track to make that happen too. It's always something that I get to help somebody with.
Right, exactly. That's good stuff. So what the least part of your job right now? What's the least favorite thing? I know you said data entry, but there's still got to be something. Come on, I'm looking for some nuggets here. All right.
Oh, I mean, I don't like putting stuff on the website. There's nothing like making a small error that Nate Hare finds later on the website. Ooh. And you go, oh no, that was a no-brainer. I forgot to click a button.
So is Nate a little anal about the website then? Is that what you're saying?
No, he just has an eye like an eagle.
I like an eagle. That's funny. So you guys, you're in Dallas, and so you actually guys have an event tonight from 6 to 9 p.m., don't you?
Mm-hmm. Wait, what day is today? Yes, I believe they are going to one of the real estate investment associations this evening.
Mm-hmm. And then you guys have a lunch and learn tomorrow as well on
yes,
every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. At noon from 12 to 1. Those are all broadcasted live through our Facebook, as well as we use Zoom, so you can also get the Zoom login by registering on our website.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got, I know Brant's doing a private lender lunch and learn over there, in a week, I guess, a week from tomorrow, I guess, too, as well?
The following Wednesday. In the afternoon, we have the luncheon around 12 to 1, and then in the evening from 6:30 to 9:30, we have a $1 trillion mixer. We actually originally coined this in Austin, Texas, and have since copied it across Houston and Dallas as well. Yeah, we started that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. You did start that, and you've got Mitch Stevens coming to speak in on notes and stuff like that, owner financing this month.
Yes, owner finance deals. He's going to be there Wednesday, and Brant does the lunch and learn that same day.
Yeah, you got a full day next week, huh?
We've done as many as like 4 events on that same Wednesday before. It was a team effort.
Very much so. And then, are you guys running any specials? Because I know you're always looking to set new records from year over year, month over month. You guys are running any specials for new accounts this month in September?
Oh, absolutely. For the month of September, we actually have a promotion. Nicole, was the promotion just the unlimited accounts for $100
for this month?
Yes.
Also, you can get an ticket to our online boot camp.
That's what I thought.
If you open up one account, it's 50% off.
I got this. Let me go ahead and tell them. I just wanted to make sure that was the promotion.
Okay.
So
good intern. Good job there, Nicole.
Yesterday, and I just wanted to make sure that was the right one. Not that there's any others, but they did announce it yesterday. Where basically, when you set up one account with us, it's $100 for one account for our account opening fee. But that's not all you get. You get like a half price ticket to our boot camp. If you set up multiple accounts under that unlimited fee, you can actually, if you get 2 accounts set up under that $100, now you can have 1 free online boot camp ticket. And it just goes up from there. So if you open 3 accounts, you get like 2 tickets to the online boot camp. So there's definitely not only an opportunity to get the accounts that you need for yourself and your family, or open up that Roth IRA, but also have an opportunity to get more education, more networking opportunities with the online boot camp coming up. And that's going to be in January of 2019.
That's what I was going to ask next. When is the exact dates of the boot camp in January, or not yet?
Oh, we do have the exact dates. It's the 18th, 19th, and 20th.
January 18th, 19th, and 20th.
You should have this marked on your calendar.
Well, it's not marked on my calendar yet because I'm going to be, I'll be speaking on it, but I'll be speaking live from the Bahamas.
Oh, right. That, and we're still reaching out to, I think a few of the speakers are waiting for confirmation. So.
Yeah. But I'll be on there. I'll be speaking, but I'll be live from the Bahamas. Then
have like the beach in the background.
Beach in the background, making everybody jealous, talking about non-performing notes from Atlantis.
I did a recording like that with Aaron Young for the last expo that we just had. Yeah. I called him and he's like, "Oh, I'm in Hawaii on vacation with my family." I was like, "Well, do you still want to do this video?" He's like, "Yeah, we can just schedule. Let's just do it right now." And I said, "Well, okay." And it was really sweet of him. The boot camp the expo that we just had was such a hit. I really was floored by the number of compliments we got. I've never seen just a pile of positive feedback from the consultation sheets that we got, and I look forward to seeing that same kind of effect here with our online boot camp.
Yeah, this will be the second online boot camp you've done, correct? If I remember correctly.
We did one last year in January, or I'm sorry, this year in January. It's not 2019 yet.
Mm-hmm. You guys will also be speaking, I don't know exactly, at our next Note Camp convention. That we actually just bumped it to a little bit later November for a little bit better date for us. We've just been so slammed with events from the Quest Expo and everything else we've done. We just had decided to push it back a few weeks, but you guys will be a part there. Now, you guys have somebody out also at the Magnify Your Wealth Summit, speaking of Aaron Young, at his event here, golly, in 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm. I believe Nate Hare and another one of our representatives will be there. It'll be a huge hit.
Yeah, definitely. You guys always do a big thing there for you. What other questions, comments, concerns? For those that are out there watching, what do you have for Rebecca Miller here, the longest tenured IRA specialist at Quest IRA?
And if we have some trouble with questions, we can also kind of go over why somebody would work with a SEP or a simple instead of a 401k.
Let's dive into that. My apology. Yes, thank you very much. Keeping me on track there. Not
a problem. So a lot of folks want a solo 401k, but they may not qualify. So, or not only may they not qualify because of employees, but another major factor is they may not want all of that responsibility, all of the bookkeeping and record keeping. And this is where a SEP IRA could become a great option. If somebody's self-employed or if they have 1 or 2 employees out there, a SEP IRA could allow them to contribute just the employer contribution up to that $55,000 a year. And so that contribution still couldn't exceed like the 25% of their W-2 wage or the 20% of their net earnings. But it would still allow them to make the higher tax deductible contribution. You can still convert money into the Roth IRA from there. So it's another great way if you're self-employed to ramp up a Roth IRA account and still get the higher contributions without all the responsibility, because Quest IRA provides an administrative service for SEP IRAs. So we'll take all the duty of doing the bookkeeping and record keeping for the SEP IRA account. The other main employer plan out there that can be self-directed is the Simple IRA. So the Simple IRA works a whole lot better for individuals that do have employees. A Simple can be used by a company that has up to 100 employees. That's the maximum number that's allowed. And the deadline for setting these up, by the way, is coming up as of October 1st. So Simple IRAs, they have an early deadline for the tax year. So if you wanted to look at a Simple IRA for yourself or your couple of employees out there, it's time to talk to your CPA about it. And basically, these accounts allow the employee to put the most money in. So an employee may contribute up to like $12,500 a year. There's also a catch-up contribution of $3,000. So if you're over the age of 50, from your paycheck, you could withhold up to like $15,500, put that into the Simple IRA. And then in addition to that, the employer, so the company that you're working for or your company that you're paying yourself out of, can contribute up to 2 or 3% of the employee's earnings to the account as well. A lot of employers choose to contribute like a 3% matching contribution for their employees because, heck, if they don't contribute, you don't have to contribute. But other than that, there's some employers out there that like to do the 2% contribution because whether or not your employees participate, you give them the 2% of their salaries, and it's a benefit for them whether they use it or not later on. And that's kind of the big difference, is whether or not you have employees under this company or another company, which will really drive you to choose one of these two options. And the best part is that at least you can convert the SEP IRA as soon as you want to the Roth IRA.
That's some definitely great options there for everybody there. I didn't know about the October 1st deadline though.
And that's only for simple IRA accounts.
Well, yeah, sorry. That's good to know. Questions from that. Now you have a few more of these than what you had with the other 200, correct? You got more of these accounts probably set up because it's a little bit easier for everybody, or no?
For simple IRAs, there's actually really few of them because it's usually just one person. We don't have like all their employees. That's one thing that we really like to stress to folks. Like we'll get small dentist offices and other small businesses that will want to set up a simple IRA not only for themselves but all of their employees. Well, Quest IRA is a great company to self-direct your simple IRA with, but it may not be the best option for your employees who are not looking to self-direct.
Okay.
And so we always focus on education about how like you can hold your simple IRA with us, but you may help them set up their simple IRAs with a more traditional brokerage firm because that's most likely in their best interest unless they want to self-direct too. And so we probably have like a good handful of simple IRAs. SEPs, I'd say, are far more common.
Sure.
For self-employed individuals because, like I mentioned, they're so much easier than a 401k. They also allow for that higher contribution. But again, it's really designed for somebody who usually doesn't have employees. And the main reason somebody would use a SEP, preferably when they're self-employed with no employees, is because you have to contribute an equal portion of, or percentage, I should say, of your paycheck. You have to do an equal percentage for your employee's paycheck too. So if I wanted to max out the 20% of my net earnings, now I have to give them 20% too. And not everybody wants to do that for their employees, which is where the simple really falls into play. So
Yeah.
and simples and SEPs, I know it's a lot of information or education, which is why if you're thinking about an employer plan, I always encourage just calling us and we'll go through what your specific circumstances are and where that would fall into each one of these types of plans and getting you started on the whole process to get them set up, because that's really different. For a SEP or a simple IRA, Quest IRA handles everything. For the 401k plan, it's a bit more hands-on because you get to have like your own checking account and all of that fun stuff too.
Yeah, but having your own checking account to do it is not always the best thing too, because like you said, you got to track that paperwork, and you don't want getting slapped on the wrist by Uncle Sam for writing a check out of something. Now it's quick. We've got some more investors have access to this. They just write a check, and then when we finish, we wire back in real easy or deposit if they're banked with Wells Fargo. But it's still, there's paperwork. You gotta have paperwork, and I don't necessarily too. Another thing too, I don't necessarily want to write. Just because I want to put some money away doesn't mean my employees want to put some money away as well too, right?
Very, very true. Very, very true. And that's again where if you do have employees, you can also look at one of those other custodians plan providers like compensation strategies, and they can also explore with you, your self-directed 401k plan options if you do have employees. Mm-hmm. I'll warn you, they're kind of costly though. Quincy and Nathan told me that back when we were a teeny itty bitty company, like when I first started, when we had like 9 employees, it cost us like $10,000 a year to administer our company-wide self-directed 401k plan. Now that we have over 100 employees, now I heard last time it was like closer to 50,000, and just expenses to run our 401k plan, because that's a lot of bookkeeping for 100 employees. That CPA is probably pulling his hair out and doing very, very well.
Yeah, well, they pay pretty good commissions on those when you send them up being an ex-financial advisor, because one of the things that I used to do a lot of that when I was a financial advisor, back and stuff. And it was always nice when you found a 401k to set up for a company. You got paid pretty good on it because there's always residual fees on that. So not that all of it's going to fees. We know there's a lot of bookkeeping, CPA work, and dotting T's and crossing I's, but still, yeah. That's why I love what you guys do. You guys provide so much continuing education, so much stuff for people to follow through to find the right plan. And you guys are always so accessible to pick up the phone and ask that question, because we've done that quite a few times. Pick up the phone. Hey, I needed to do this, especially as we come to the end of the year or the end of April 15th. What can I deposit to? Yeah, what can we sock into our IRA accounts?
I definitely got a call or email from Stephanie about those contributions in April, I think.
Yeah, she's like, what can we put away? And I'm like, hey, put it in. She's like, you can't do that. We got employees now. You can't do that anymore. I'm like, all right. Good times, good times. Well, hey, Rebecca, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule. I know you've got some stuff you're going on, and Dallas is a growing market. You guys have a brand spanking new office up there available for trainings and other events too.
We're actually remodeling and expanding the whole Dallas office. We just blew up Austin, and now we're about to blow up Dallas a little bit more too.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Texas domination. Quest Trust. That's what you should be. Super Rebecca for Halloween. There you go.
It's my alternate personality. Super Rebecca.
Okay. Now, all right. What's going on with the alternate personalities? Is that a new Quest thing?
No. It was actually something that was my alternate personality to help me conquer everything I had to do back when whenever I get really stressed out going to school and or work. Mm-hmm. Telling yourself you can do it all because you're super kind of helps.
It does. And you are super. We all have inner superheroes for sure. What classes are you taking this semester?
Honestly, I just close my eyes and I pick one and then I order the book. So I go online. It's just another day, another set of curriculum. I really can't keep track of it these days.
Yeah.
It's my low end priority.
How far along are you? Yeah. How long do you have left?
I would actually have to look back at that. I haven't looked at it in a few semesters. I just keep going because I know I still have more credits to earn.
Where are you studying through? University of Phoenix or where else?
I just moved over, taking a few credit classes through the Dallas Community College.
Cool. Good stuff. Well, hey, stick with it. I took a year and a half off from in the middle of my undergrad to figure out what the heck I wanted to do, and then dove in. So you've got marketing and management or business administration and marketing and stuff like that. That's what you said you're studying, correct?
Yeah, right now I can tell you the class is very management focused. So, but the exact name of it I can't remember off the top of my head.
Not a problem. Hey, if you ever need any advice or stuff like that, let me know, because that's what the degree I got from good old Southwest Texas State University. Wow. The Bobcats. Awesome. Well, hey, good stuff to you. Congrats on the move to Dallas. Congrats on a great expo. Congrats the whole Quest staff for the Quest Trust kicking off here in, wow, it's hard to believe it. 45
weeks?
Yeah.
Till November 1st. Oh, wait, no, we still have October. Whew. I'm jumping the gun. It is about 45 days.
Exactly. Well, once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us on the Note Closer Show. We'll definitely have you on again. You got to elbow Ingrid and Anne Marie. Let them say, hey, my turn on the Note Closer Show. All righty.
I'll definitely ask them to have me back. Thank you so much for your time today, Scott.
Hey, no, thanks, Rebecca. Appreciate it. Thanks for being a big heart and then also taking care of our clients as well when we refer them over to you. So awesome. Love back at you. Bye. All right, guys. Well, hey, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Note Closer Show. Once again, if you're looking for an employer plan, reach out to Rebecca. She is the expert over there at Quest IRA. Does a tremendous job. Can spend a little bit more time with you than just these 45 to 50 minutes we went through with her. Once again, you reach out to her at questiras.com, or you can reach out to 1-888-FUN-IRA. Is it 188 or 1? Hang on here. Let's make sure I get this right. Don't want to give the wrong phone number out. 1-855-FUN-IRAs. 1-855-FUN-IRAs, and tell them that Scott Carson sent you to open up your new account. They might just give you a little bit of a discount. So, other than that, have a great day, everybody. Go out, make something happen, and we'll see you all at the top, everybody. Bye.